done.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, dear listeners and viewers, to News and Views with Aisha Kaji, your host for the show this week. I'm delighted to have speaking to me today Wafa Ghnaim, who is a Palestinian dress historian, researcher, writer, curator, and educator. She is also the curator of the Museum of the Palestinian People, based in Washington, D.C. She also works with the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and she's an expert on Palestinian dress and particularly the art of Tatreez. Her book, written in conjunction with her mother, is called Tatreez and Tea. Wafa, assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show. We're very, very pleased to have you with us today.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me.
So, for the benefit of our audience, please can you explain briefly what Tatreez is? I know most people know what keffiyeh is. Last year we did a show on the symbolism and significance of keffiyeh, but Tatreez is something not many South Africans know about. So if you could explain to us what Tatreez is, why it's important in Palestinian culture, that would be a great way to kick off.
Absolutely. Tatreez is the Arabic word for embroidery, or the ornamentation of fabric as a whole. So outside of Palestine, many places in the world practice embroidery, and embroidery includes all different types of stitches. So we have cross stitch, running stitch, couching stitch, all different types of stitches and techniques fall under embroidery. So this is the Arabic term for embroidery. Within a contemporary context, the term Tatreez, colloquially in Arabic, has come to reference Palestinian embroidery traditions because of the sort of cultural revival of our heritage in the face of erasure and appropriation and ethnic cleansing. And so Tatreez itself, the word, has sort of emerged throughout over the last 10 years to only really reference Palestinian embroidery, even though in Arabic, in Arabi, it's, meant to just be a reference point for a translation of just the term embroidery. Now, Tatreez in Palestinian arts and culture, and the why in terms of what makes it so important for us is that first of all, it's a centuries old practice. This is a practice of needlework and artistry and innovation and identity that has been practiced between Palestinian women and girls for centuries. There's evidence of this within, art historical research and through time. And recently, it has emerged as a way of expression for us to not only connect with our cultural heritage and the centuries-old roots that we have to the land, but also as a way for us to connect in exile. As Palestinians are dispersed all around the earth, Palestinians find a way still to maintain cohesion and national unity. And we do that by practicing and preserving Tatreez.
Okay, thank you. That's a great introduction. And Tatreez, I believe, is not done only on clothing, on dresses, but also on shawls, on articles of jewelry. I saw a beautiful set of a necklace and bracelet last year at a Palestinian fundraiser that I went to that was being auctioned off actually at the fundraiser in Pietermaritzburg here in South Africa. So it is not limited to clothing only, it's wall hangings and jewelry as well, as I understand it. Is that correct?
As of the 1960s, yes, we see the emergence of Palestinian embroidery cooperatives and them sort of producing Palestinian embroidery as a means of economy for them to sustain themselves. And so some people, of course, can't afford dresses. Dresses are very laborious. They take a lot of time. For they're expensive, and those were hard to sell and hard to produce in the refugee camps. So they created multiple different formats to sell. And yes, we see pillow cushions were the first sort of off the body Tatreez object that foreigners, tourists could purchase and take to their homes, but also for Palestinians maybe who couldn't afford the
Right.
dress.
Right. But traditionally they've been used on dresses. And I understand from the little bit of research that I've done that different types of Tatreez are actually specific to different areas of Palestine and even specific to certain villages. And that the symbolism of the various stitches that are used by certain communities is also really quite important. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. And, just as in any art history study, when we're studying art and we're trying to understand and reconstruct history, we need to frame it within a time period. So while this art form is centuries old, it wasn't always practiced the same. And it emerged just like the women did, and it evolved just like the women did. So this concept of village to village identity and city by city identity is something we see in the 19th century into 1948, so mid 20th century. So this 150 or so year span is when we see this specificity in regional and sort of land origination, and that being reflected on the dress. And what is really interesting to know is that we say villages, but women from the cities, women from the villages and the farms, and then women from the Bedouin communities of movement, all had different styles. And even despite the regional styles, like I'll give you an example, Bethlehem had a city style and it had a Bedouin style, because there was the Bedouin, the Ta'amrib tribe that was in Bethlehem, and they had their own style. So even within the same sort of regional borders or sort of distinctions or administrative divisions, we see even these different societal segments have different styles as well. The Galilee in the north, where my mother is from, in that they had a city style, a villager style, and a Bedouin style as well. So this nuance and this level of specificity, I think, is really fascinating. I think it's very particular to the 19th century and early 20th century. But if you were to look throughout time over the centuries, it seems that the women and even men had similar ideas about regional identity in their dress, but the regions were bigger. By the 19th century, there became much more specificity and limited. There's just so much diversity in Palestine by this time. We have, various religions living there, various walks of life, various backgrounds, various societal segments, and so that connection to land stood prominently in society.
Okay. So that actually is very interesting in that, you could at one stage, certainly for that 150-year period, almost define where somebody was from by the type of Tatreez that decorated their clothing.
Not just Tatreez. Yes, that the answer to that is yes. Also their headdress. It's an ensemble. When you're looking at dress, you have to look at the full ensemble from head to toe.
Right.
So we're talking about the way that they belted their dress, the sleeves, the Tatreez, the embroidery, the fabric that they used. In some villages and regions, they didn't do Tatreez. They specifically purchased silk from Syria, present-day Syria, of course, and used bold colors. So you might not find Tatreez on their garments because they preferred to make bold statements through the color choices that they had in their fabric, the stripes or whatever designs that they picked. So you have to look at the full ensemble, not just the thobe either. The thobe is our dress. It's like the one I'm wearing now. It's the traditional dress. The women also wore, in some cases, a shawl. They sometimes wore an overcoat. And various elements to the ensemble have to be considered. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And tell us a little bit about the symbolism of the different stitch types, the different types of motifs that come up within Tatreez. I know there's, there's some of it has really been used from the time of the resistance to the occupation. There's been a symbolism attached to certain types of Tatreez, particularly during the time when the occupation banned the carrying of the Palestinian flag, that this was actually symbolically embedded into the embroidery.
Yes, yes. What occurred during the First Intifada was an interesting phenomenon of national expression. At that time, because the flag was confiscated and was banned, we also see that women were taking more of a frontline role in the resistance, in the movement. And in that case, they began to embroider explicitly nationalistic motifs, including Dome of the Rock, rock throwers, doves taking flight, the Palestinian flag. They stitched traditional motifs as well and didn't just innovate. They were also traditional motifs that they stitched in the colors of the Palestinian flag. And this was worn. We don't actually know the origination story of the Intifada dresses. I understand from the work of Wadad Gawad, who is a well-known dress historian like me, like my work in my field, much more well-known. I should give credit to her work. And she indicates that, you know, there might be a possibility it emerged from the Kalandia camps, refugee camps, but there's no real clear identification lineage or story because of the risk that was posed to their lives.
Yeah. So she wrote, I think it was called Threads of
Identity.
Identity, yes. And they literally are threads of identity, aren't they, the Tatreez?
Exactly.
They seem to, you know, cover such a spectrum of history and culture and resistance and all kinds of other things that they really fascinate me. Some of the motifs that I've looked at include the poppy, the Hanoun, which is also, in some cases, not really the official national flower of Palestine, but it's become a very symbolic flower, has it not?
The poppy. Yes. Yes. Well, it is one of the national flowers of Palestine. And it seems that yes, it hasn't quite emerged. There's a few motifs in Palestinian embroidery where there's a poppy-like flower. And we do see it here and there, but now it's just taken flight in a different kind of direction and way and symbolism.
Okay. And what other motifs are very common in Tatreez? I've seen leaf motifs. I've seen what to me appears to be representing olives or olive trees, and perhaps representations of the sea as well. Can you talk us through that?
Oh, I'm not sure that there are representations of the sea, but in terms of late 19th and early 20th century motifs, because again, we need to define Palestinian embroidery with time periods. This isn't just a monolith of visual language. It emerged in lockstep with the women that produced it, and therefore it was a reflection of current moment in time for them. And so the time period is very significant in understanding what that symbolism could mean. Today, and I'll answer your question in a moment, today in Palestinian embroidery, the diaspora has redefined and placed their own meanings onto the symbols that don't originate with the way women practiced and stitched those symbols in the late 19th and early century. There's a very contemporary lens and approach to Palestinian embroidery today that has no historical origins. For instance, there's the cypress tree. And the cypress tree, in Tatreez and Tia, I documented my mother calling it the tree of life. Now, people are calling it the tree of life and they're representing it as a family tree. That's not historically how it was practiced, but that's just contemporarily how it's emerged. The tree of life also isn't specific to one particular village. It was stitched all across Palestine. So there's no specific village origination. But today, people, Palestinians stitching today will pluck out the tree of life, say, oh, well, this was on a Ramallah dress, so this is the Ramallah tree of life, when that might not necessarily be true, but that's our only way to connect from diaspora. So it's just very important to maintain time periods when we're talking about this art form and history, especially as a reflection of history. Other motifs include from the late 19th and early 20th century. include amulets. Amulets are one of the oldest motifs we see in Palestinian dress and embroidery that are centuries old. Amulets are protective. They maintain a protective quality. We see different types of arrows and chevrons and things like that, but they're all sort of emulations of the amulet. They're all iterations of the amulet, because most of what we stitched on our dress had a protective quality. It might have reflected the land and where we were from, as the ensemble reflected where we were from, but the actual motifs in isolation, they were intended to bring good luck and prosperity to the wearer.
Right.
And that's why they were put on our bodies.
Right. I'm actually
your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings, from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Join Africa Muslims Agency this Ramadan as we dig deep, reaching into the heart of the earth to fill the cups of those in need. A water well or borehole provides multiple mercies beyond clean drinking water. From education to empowerment to health. Sponsor a water well for 16,500 Rand in Africa, a borehole for 55,000 Rand in Afghanistan, or 65,000 Rand in Africa. This Ramadan, let your mercy flow with AMA. 23 nations, one table, every meal, a mercy.
Searching for elite local and international investment and advisory services from an award-winning firm? Look no further than the Belmont Mayer Group, your gateway to unparalleled investment and wealth management. At Belmont Mayer, we believe in the art of wealth creation, a meticulous process fueled by our unwavering commitment to excellence. With a focus on providing elite alternative investments and quality advice, we also pride ourselves on maximizing value for our esteemed investors, as seen through our consistent outperformance. Your financial success is our top priority. Join us at Belmont Mayer and experience the difference firsthand. Ready to embark on a journey of greatness? Contact us today. Reach out to the Belmont Mayer Group on 078 786 1698. Call or WhatsApp or email us at info@belmontmayer.com. Elevate your financial future with Belmont Mayer, where every detail matters.
Imagine a world where every child feels loved, secure, and cared for. At Beit Halima Saadia Orphanage, we are not just providing a roof over their heads, we're giving orphan children a chance for a brighter future. For just 1,500 Rands a month or 18,000 Rands a year, you can sponsor an orphan and transform their life. Your contribution covers essentials like food, clothing, tuition, therapy, and more, ensuring they grow in a nurturing, supportive environment. Any donation is accepted, as well as daily scheduled donations. EFT directly into our account. Beit Halima Saadia Orphanage, First National Bank, account number 6313-1080-078, branch code 250737. Section 18A registered. Take this step today. Contact Sister Nazarene at 083-653-5669 or email info@bhscycc.co.za.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
This because so much of what you're saying also resonates with carpet weaving, and I'm a big lover of Persian carpets. And again, you have the amulets, the cypress trees, the tree of life motif, the lots of similarities, I have to say. But I suppose that occurs in textile craft and art throughout the world, really, to some extent. I know you wrote this book, Tatreez and Tea, because your mother had long wanted to have a book, to write a book about Tatreez, and you began practicing Tatreez, if I'm not mistaken, at a very young age. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. And I just want to clarify, I'm not a businesswoman. I'm a dress historian. So my tagline is wrong. I'm not a businesswoman. I'm not profiting off the art form. I just want to be clear on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yes, I want to be clear with all the viewers, or if there's a way to edit that before. Yes, I began learning from my mother, Fariad Abbasi Ghnaim, when I was very young. I have two sisters and no brothers. So my mother, as an embroiderer and as a Palestinian refugee and immigrant to the United States, felt very compelled and called to ensure that her daughters maintained connection to our cultural heritage and our cultural identity. And her being an embroiderer as well as an art teacher, this was her way of making sure that no matter what happens, and no matter how, assimilated we are into American culture, that we'll always have a connection to who we are in our culture. Exile is a particular kind of condition. It's a particular type of human condition that I think inflicts Palestinians in a different way, because we're passing this sort of loss from generation to generation and holding on to hope. And so embroidery was taught to me at as you said, a very young age. And I've always known there to be Tatreez, and even to the point that when I released Tatreez and Tea and I wrote that book, I had no idea that it was going to take such form. I mean, when I started my account for Tatreez and Tea on Instagram in 2016, there were no accounts on Tatreez. There was none at all. Wow. There was no hashtag for Tatreez. There was nothing. And my elders were saying that Tatreez was extinct and the new generation wasn't interested. And that was my task, was to get the new generation interested.
And obviously you've succeeded. Well done.
I feel very proud that and that's why I think that the elders in the community have begun working closely with me on my scholarship, is because I achieved that first goal they tasked me with. And now social media has also gone in its own direction. There's a lot of misinformation propagating even within our own community. So I've moved back to writing and research with their guidance, and of course, citing their work as much as I can. To ensure that the historical record isn't altered because of the misinformation propagating on social media. So I'm in now a different phase of cultural heritage preservation that hopefully will continue to evolve as my career does. Yeah.
Well, I wish you everything of the best with that. And thank you very much for a fascinating discussion. We really appreciate your time and your expertise, and hope that you will continue to revive this almost forgotten art, which is now enjoying a resuscitation due in no small part to yourself. Thank you again, Wafa. It's been a pleasure and a privilege.
Thank you.